So what else was placed inside the firmament, this thing called the firmament? Well, we continue in the Genesis narrative, and we see that on day 4, he put the sun, moon, and stars in the firmament. In the firmament. Do you see planets being created on the 4th day? Do you see it anywhere in that text? Nope. In fact, the word planet does not exist in Scripture. It's not there. Read Genesis 1 and show me any mention of Yahuwah creating planets. It's not there. What you see is earth created first and the sun, moon, and stars created to serve it. Heliocentricity is totally foreign to the biblical narrative of the cosmos. And what we call planets are the wandering stars of Jude, where he talks about Jude 13. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Planets, as we know them, exist nowhere in Scripture. Not even in 2 Kings 23:5. The King James is the only translation who uses the word planet. And it's in 2 Kings 23:5. However, the word that's being used there is Mazaloth, which is the reference to what we call today the zodiac. You can look it up for yourself, look up the word, you look it up the various translations. You'll see planets in King James, they're the only ones using it, but it's constellations. That's what the word actually means. And various lexicons will confirm that as well. Now, when we get to the New Testament, this is something interesting. The disciples asked Yeshua, what's it going to be like in the last days before he comes back? And the first thing he says is, take heed, let no man deceive you. The word that he used there is planeo. Strong's number 4105. And the definition, properly to go astray, get off course, to deviate from the correct path, circuit, course, roaming into error, wandering, passive, be misled. Planeo is the root of the English term planet, wandering body. This term nearly always conveys the sin of roaming. Let's continue. That's 4105. There are various derivatives of that. It says on the bottom there that its origin is from the word plane, 4106. Same thing, wandering into error, figurative, deceit, delusion, error. Plane, feminine noun, derived from planeo, deviant behavior, departure from what God says is true. And error, deception, which results in wandering, roaming into sin. We see another derivative here, planos, 4108. Adjective derived from the other ones, a deceiver trying to get others to also veer off God's course, path of safety, wandering, leading astray, a deceiver. So when we look at Jude, he's using 4107, planetes, a masculine noun derived from the other words, planeo, to wander, properly a wandering star, planet, figuratively a false teacher operating without moral compass and exploiting other aimless people, i.e., prompting them to also stray from God's circle of safety. So when we say planet Earth, we're really saying the wandering, deceptive earth that leads us away from God's truth. That's what it says. So now let's see what Dr. Danny Faulkner has to say about the stars.
Well, it's all the paradigm drives your conclusions.
You know, we have some purposes given for the stars in Genesis 1, 14 to 19. It's a day 4 creation account. It mentions the stars and other heavenly bodies to mark time, to rule over the night, to be for signs, seasons, festivals, and so forth. People have been using the stars for marking passage of time. The patterns repeat every night. They repeat every year. They come back in their season. There's a lot of regularity going on here.
The Big Bang. How do you see that? Is it holding up over time?
I don't think so. I think it's getting some problems. So much so that more than a dozen years ago, I think in the New Scientist magazine, there was an open letter protesting the Big Bang Theory, and it's had hundreds of signatories since. And most of the people signing it are atheists. They're not even creationists. So this idea that the Big Bang model is universally accepted is not true. There are many people out there, well-known people, very famous physics and astronomy people, that have real problems with the Big Bang. And I don't see any way that you can reconcile Big Bang with the Bible, though a lot of people seem to think that you can. I think the temptation they have there is to try to interpret Scripture in terms of the current cosmological thinking. That's nothing new. That's happened before, as it's turned out, with disastrous results. So I think when you look at the history of science, the way we've discarded theories over time, you've had theories that were supposedly beyond dispute, and then later on discarded. When you see that lesson from history and then you want to wed Genesis, you want to interpret Genesis in terms of the ruling paradigm, I think you need to be very careful.
The first guy rightly states that the paradigm drives your conclusion. And then Danny Faulkner, on the one hand, subscribes to the standard cosmological model himself, while warning that the temptation is to interpret Scripture in terms of the current cosmological thinking. The irony is that most creationists are doing the exact same thing. They are forcing a narrative, a different paradigm, onto the Bible that it in no way supports. Taking the Bible literally. Are we still taking the Bible literally? Let's look at these scriptures right here. Isaiah 34:4. And all, how many? All the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. And how many? All their hosts shall fall down. Huh? We have Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the Son of God himself, saying, and I believe quoting Isaiah, and the stars of heaven shall fall. How many of them? If he's taking Isaiah as his source, we see that Peter says that the heavens are going to pass away with a great noise. And then we see in Revelation, the prophetic scripture again, John is saying now that the stars, how many of them? All fell to the earth. All the stars are going to fall to earth. I take the Bible literally. It's scientifically accurate. Really? Well, okay. Let's think about that. We've got some big trouble if Betelgeuse is headed our way, followed by Arcturus and the constellations, okay? Big problems. You know, they say this is a galaxy, right? And all those points of light are suns and with planets going around them. And all that's headed our way? Andromeda is headed our way. And oh, by the way, there's supposedly billions of those out there too. All of that is coming to this place, right here. At that point, remember what I told you before? You make that prayer. Yeah. Somebody's lying. I am not prepared to say that it's Isaiah, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the Son of God himself, Peter, and John. I'm going to go with, you know what? Carl Sagan, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, et al. You guys are lying. Somebody's lying. Taking the Bible literally? I don't know.